This is Martin Madrazo, one of the most prolific and well-known cartel leaders in Los Santos. He has gotten in the way of the likes of Michael the Santa, Trevor Phillips,
You better treat her right, man! I will, amigo!
and even our online character.
I feel we will be great friends.
But even though we have encountered the Madrazo family so many times, most GTA players don't know much about them. How powerful is actually this Mexican cartel family? How did Martin Madrazo become such a powerful figure in the Los Santos underworld? And will we see the family in the GTA 6 action? Well, for all of these questions and many more, we finally have the answers in this documentary. To get the best possible overview of Martin Madrazo, but also his overall family, let's go and start from the very beginning. Martin Madrazo was born in Mexico in the early 1960s. Although he was born and raised mainly in Mexico, then in his teenage years he moved to the United States via some unknown connections he had in southern San Andreas. Not long after it, he found his wife Patricia, of who he decided to marry in 1983. In the mid-1980s, Martin and Patricia had their first son Miguel, who was involved in the Cayo Perico heist action in 2020.
I didn't have to come here today. I was having like a really good time. But I wanted you to know that I'm a modern leader. I've done the hard work on myself, and I'm gonna be there for you. Cause I respect you. And I'm here for you now, okay? So go get 'em, team! Okay, I'm gonna head back to the club, see if I can pry my mother out of the DJ booth. You can make the drop at my house in Vinewood Hills.
Although from all of this talk it might look like Martin was living this great family life, then the reality is quite far from it. While Patricia was at home with Miguel, Martin was launching his own illegal businesses. Martin Madrazo had one very big edge over most other people wanting to get involved in the illegal substance international import and export business. He had connections in both the US and in Mexico, where he grew up. It took Martin and his partners not long to set up regular transporting schedules across the US-Mexican border. For the transportation of the illegal goods, almost every possible method was used. The most regular one was just hiding the substances below the trucks to then cross the border checkpoints, but there were also operations launched to cross the border illegally through the large deserts by foot, as well as flying the substances into the US via small airplanes using unknown methods to not be visible to radar detectors. And even sea operations, which included transporting the goods via submarines. And this is where Martin Madrazo met the Russian submarine captain Pavel, who had run these kinds of operations for a while in different South American countries. It was exactly through the Madrazo family in 2020 that our online character and Pavel also created a partnership.
I am Pavel, helmsman first class, also chief engineer, gunner, radar technician, and cook. Huh? You join me for red caviar later. 20 years old, but tastes like it was canned yesterday.
But more about that in a minute. Throughout the late 1980s, 1990s and even early 2000s, Martin Madrazo on behalf of the Madrazo Cartel created many different work relationships with big supplement suppliers from the Latin American region. Amongst these suppliers was also the other big cartel leader El Rubio, who was stationed on the Cayo Perico island off the coast of Venezuela. With the decades, the Madrazo Cartel was really built up to be amongst the largest supplement distributors in Los Santos and the US as a whole. The Madrazo Cartel family has mainly operated the last line in the supplement chain, the line that is distributing their products on the streets of the US via smaller dealers. But they are not exactly the ones who are planting and creating the illegal goods in South American farms. Neither do they usually handle business themselves south of Mexico. This is the field for guys like El Rubio that sell these goods to Madrazo-like cartels in Mexico and the US. All of this focus on work throughout the decades obviously created tensions between Martin and his wife Patricia, which ultimately led to Martin having an affair with a much younger Russian woman, Natalia Sverovna. And this is where we get into the 2013 action. Michael, by a mistake, turned down a magnificent architectural masterpiece in Vinewood Hills that Martin had bought for his girlfriend Natalia.
see how he liked that. Whoa, man. Him and his deck.
Although Michael at first thought the house to belong to a tennis coach who seemed to have an affair with Michael's wife Amanda, then very quickly it turned out to be a wrong call.
You know who I am? Do you know who I am? Do you?
No.
Well, you?
I think so.
Good. I know who you are. I know where you live. Who are you?
I'm Franklin.
License. Now, Franklin, maybe help Mr. DeSanta here. Who am I?
I think Martin Madrazo.
Good boy. Now maybe give him a little of a background.
Man, Mr. Madrazo is a legitimate businessman who was wrongfully accused of running a Mexican-American gang and a narcotic ring, but the charges were dropped because of the witnesses came up missing.
Smart kid. Now, Michael, got a question for you. Did you pull an architectural, significant, modernist wonder home down the hillside in Vinewood Hills?
I thought the owner was banging my wife.
Well, that was a strange house for a tennis coach.
I wasn't thinking straight.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Well, Natalia will need a hotel while you finance the rebuild. Won't she?
Sure.
Good. And I'm guessing here that the rebuild will be somewhere in the 2.5 million range.
Of course.
Martin Madrazo's house wreck was inevitably one of the main reasons that even got the 2013 action going. To pay for the reconstruction, Franklin and Michael robbed Evangelico jewel store, which notified Trevor about Michael being alive. Then they had to work for the FIB and ultimately robbed the Union Depository. In the middle of these actions, rather than keeping Michael as his enemy, Martin and Michael tried to kind of create a formal relationship. Martin invited Michael and Trevor over to his ranch to hire them to kill Martin's cousin Javier, who was thinking of testifying against Martin in court.
My cousin, you married Michael. Well, apparently he's thinking about testifying against me.
So I have him killed.
I'm going to. By you.
Our debt was settled.
This is a favor. For a friend. But does friendship mean nothing these days?
Hello? What's the deal?
This is him. Javier. He's flying off to Liberty City this afternoon. And he's taking some files of mine. Innocent files that I need back.
In the middle of this action, Trevor, being the kind of a person he was, decided to kidnap Martin's wife Patricia.
Question. I asked for a fair day's pay after a fair day's work. Then he kind of got a little angry. So I admit, I kind of got a little angry.
Did you kill him?
What kind of animal do you take me for? No, I didn't kill him.
Oh.
But I did kidnap his wife. Oh,
This led to Trevor and Michael being exempt from Los Santos, as every time they would step foot in the city, Martin's guards would come to attack them. Hence they decided to stay in Sandy Shores for a while. The kidnapping of Patricia was also the reason that ultimately led to the Cayo Perico heist in 2020, but about that in a little bit. In the end, Trevor decided to return Patricia to Martin, and both promised not to get in each other's way anymore.
You better treat her right, man! I will, amigo! Otherwise, the other ear! Of course! The way I see things, you and me and Michael, we're friends now. Good friends. Such good friends that we will make a great effort to avoid one another.
that's perfect.
Thank Michael for the statue. It is exquisite. Yeah, I will.
Whilst all of this action in 2013, our online character was also a rising star in the criminal underworld of Los Santos. Although he wasn't connected to our main characters at the time, then Martin decided to hire our online characters himself for some completely unrelated contact jobs and told our online character that they will be great friends.
I feel we will be great friends. Hey, look at this place. Isn't it beautiful? A modernist wonder home. Very significant. My business associate lives here. I bought it for her. For him. For her. For her as a present. Because I like her. As a business associate. Anyway, here. Give me that. Yes. Perfect. I will do great. Good working with you, my friend. I'll see you again. And keep this house between us.
Although throughout the GTA Online action, our online character has always had the ability to call Martin if he needs a mission for a job, then ultimately after we met him in 2013, we didn't meet the Madrazos in person for 7 whole years. In the meanwhile of this, in 2019, there were some questions that raised around the Madrazo family and their activity in the area. And particularly interesting was Martin's ranch, that we saw to be the Madrazos' main home in the 2013 action. When the Diamond Casino was opened in summer of 2019, our online character stepped into the power battle between two powerful business families, the Cheng family from China and the Duggan business family from Texas, led at the time by Avery Duggan. The initial unsuccessful meeting was held in the Marlowe vineyard, but ultimately after this meeting, Avery Duggan's nephew Thornton came to the casino with the proposal of killing his uncle Avery.
You gotta help me.
Help?
Kill my uncle.
Oh, Jesus. I cannot believe what I am not hearing.
Now, you might ask me that what does this have to do with Martin Madrazo whatsoever? Well, nothing except the fact that Avery was at the time of his assassination mission residing in the very same ranch that Martin used to live in, and that raised many questions about if the Madrazo family had actually moved out of there, or maybe they had just rented their home out to Avery. Or even, maybe they were familiar with the Duggans, as both families were big business families, and maybe they just let Avery stay in their ranch during his visit to southern San Andreas. Luckily, with the 2020 action in Cayo Perico, we once again met the Madrazo family, which confirmed that they were still all alive and well, and even active to this day. In 2020, we were contacted by Martin's son, who was then already 35 years old. Mini-Madrazo wanted to hire our online character to steal certain files from the private island on Cayo Perico.
But, I've also got a big problem right now. Oh, not her. This guy. One Strickler. They call him El Rubio, the blonde Colombian, one of our main suppliers. But somehow, this managed to get hold of like decades worth of intel on my family. I mean, every business cuts corners, right? But you take some of that out of context and the optics can look bad.
These files that were mentioned included in fact pictures of Trevor Phillips and Miguel's mother Patricia having fun in 2013 together. The Madrazos couldn't afford El Rubio to hold these files because El Rubio raised the prices of the illegal substances they were selling to the Madrazos, and if the Madrazos wouldn't have agreed with the raised prices, El Rubio threatened to release the files to the public. To get these files from El Rubio, our online character with the help of Pavel went and robbed the Cayo Perico island compound. The heist was successful, and upon arriving in Los Santos at a Vinewood mansion with the files, Mini-Madrazo thought that his father Martin would be happy about the fact that his son managed to get these files from El Rubio, but it turned out to not exactly go to plan.
Excellent. Wait till my dad hears about this. Hey, Dad, yeah, no, this'll be quick. Just wanted to let you know that Strickler thing, the files, yeah, I did it. No, they're in my hand. I took care of it. It's done. Yes. So you know what? I was thinking that maybe you and I could sit down again and talk about that crypto deal or that condo project that I mentioned, remember? Dad, hello? The service here, it's just third world, you know?
So from what we saw, it looks like Martin doesn't really think his own son is worthy enough of respect, as he is most of the time just partying around with his friends and his own mother. In 2024, our online character was hired by the Bounty Hunter mod. Right upon hearing that, Martin for the first time in a decade also reached out to us to offer his own bounty hunt job opportunities. And from 2024 onwards, we have yet to hear from him again. As Martin Madrazo has been this peak figure in the GTA 5 action, many people have wondered if we will also see him in the GTA 6 action in Vice City starting later this year. And although there has yet to be any real confirmation, then I personally do believe that to be quite possible. After all, the Los Santos and San Andreas region is not the only region of the United States that the Madrazos supply their products to, and the fact that they are a Mexican family would fit them in great in the Vice City atmosphere. If we will actually see them in GTA 6, then I do think that they will be quite minor characters, as Rockstar wouldn't want to keep the same main characters in the game in two different titles. But what do you guys think? Do you think we will see Martin Madrazo and his son also in the GTA 6 action, or do you think that the Madrazos will stay in San Andreas? Let me know in the comments down below. Anyway, that is it for this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to also check out my other documentaries about the GTA universe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.